We turn now to a health alert. Westfield Public Schools is currently dealing with an outbreak of the chicken pox, and now they're sending a message to parents.
Western Mass News reporter Madison Lisowski joins us live from outside Westfield Middle School with more. Madison.
Yeah, Chris and Amanda, as Dan was just saying, it's getting chilly outside, which means it is peak cold and flu season. However, here in Westfield, the public schools have an outbreak of chicken pox. Now, a letter sent to the parents of all the Westfield public schools details how seriously they're handling this situation. Now, as of today, there are at least 5 confirmed cases of the highly contagious disease across 4 of the Westfield public schools, which is cause for concern for some parents and guardians.
I am worried about that because I feel bad for any child that might get sick or even bring it home to a parent or even a grandparent or another relative that may not have been vaccinated.
Chickenpox is a very contagious disease and spreads mainly through close contact with an infected person. The illness usually lasts around 1 week with a blister-like itchy rash. Some people may have more severe symptoms than others, and chickenpox can also be serious or life-threatening, particularly during pregnancy, in babies, older adults, and for people with weakened immune systems. Now, the letter that was sent to parents of Westfield Public Schools reads in part, "We strongly encourage all families to review their child's vaccination records to ensure that they are up to date with the chickenpox vaccine." It later says, additionally, if your child is immunocompromised, we advise that you consult with a medical professional to further guidance on how to proceed. Now, beyond informing students and staff of the issue, the district also does contact tracing. So if there was a specific concern for anyone, they would receive a call from the school nurse. Now, we also spoke with the interim superintendent of Westfield Public Schools, Susan Dargy, and she tells us that while they recommend all students get vaccinated for the chickenpox, there are cases of religious or medical exemption that have been brought to her attention so far.
If they're not choosing to vaccinate their children, we are asking them to use caution, to continue to use the good hygiene practices of hand washing.
Now, for the latest information regarding this outbreak, you can head to our website at westernmassnews.com. For now, reporting live in Westfield, Madison Lisowski, Western Mass News.